Welcome to Legs Like Mine, the podcast, where we explore lipedema through the eyes of a patient, break down the latest research, and share real life stories of living with this often misunderstood condition. I'm Susan O'Hara from LegsLikeMine.com. I'm a lipedema patient, author, and advocate, and I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're newly diagnosed or deep into your journey, this podcast is for you. Dear medical students, today, I'm talking to you medical students directly. The future doctors, surgeons, and specialists. If no one has talked to you about lipedema yet, this episode is here to fill that gap and challenge you to remember what medicine is truly about. Let's begin with a statistic you may not have learned in class. Up to 11% of women may have lipedema, and the vast majority are undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. That means millions of women and girls are walking around with a progressive fat disorder that isn't obesity, isn't laziness, and isn't their fault. And yet, that's exactly how they're treated by the healthcare system. How do I know? Because I was one of them, and I've met thousands more. So what is lipedema? Lipedema is a chronic connective tissue disorder that causes symmetrical, painful fat buildup, primarily in the legs, hips, buttocks, and sometimes the arms. It spares the feet and hands, which often causes a dramatic cuff at the ankles and wrists. The fat is fibrotic, resistant to diet and exercise, and painful, often described as burning, aching, or sore to the touch. Bruising is common. So is emotional trauma from decades of being told, just lose weight. It's not rare, but it is rarely taught. In most U.S. medical schools, lipedema is either a footnote or omitted entirely. There are no ICD-10 codes specific to lipedema stage or type, and even some endocrinology textbooks still confuse it with general obesity or lymphedema. And yet, when lipedema goes unrecognized, the consequences are serious. Depression and body shame, loss of mobility, misguided weight loss surgeries, ineffective treatments, and avoidable progression to lipolymphedema. Why should you care as a future doctor? Because your patients will. Your patient will walk in and tell you, my legs hurt all the time, but they don't swell at the ankle. I eat healthy and I walk every day, but my lower body keeps getting bigger. Doctors say it's just my weight, but I know it's something else. Will you hear them? Will you recognize the signs? Will you pause before you prescribe another weight loss lecture? You may be the first person in their entire life to say the words, this might be lipedema, and it's not your fault. That moment can change everything. It did for me. What do you need to know? Here are 5 clinical clues to remember. Disproportionate fat distribution. Lower body larger than upper, especially below the waist. Painful fat tissue. Even light pressure can hurt. Spares the hands and feet, unlike lymphedema. Easy bruising and tenderness. No response to caloric restriction or intense exercise. Diagnosis is still clinical, so your eyes and ears matter more than labs or scans. You don't need fancy tools to recognize it. You just need awareness and empathy. What can you do even as a student? Ask your attendings about lipedema. Bring it up during differential diagnoses. Advocate for its inclusion in your curriculum. Read research from journals like phlebotomy or obesity surgery. And follow organizations like the American Lipedema Association to stay current. You have more power than you think. And every time you question what's missing, you move medicine forward. So why does this matter to me personally? Because for years, I was treated like a problem patient. I was accused of lying about what I ate. I was told to try harder when what I needed was a diagnosis, not a judgment. I spent decades blaming myself for a disease I didn't know I even had. But here's a beautiful thing. We don't have to let the next generation of patients go through that. You, future doctor, have the chance to do it differently. When you listen with curiosity, when you trust your patients and your own clinical instincts, you not only make better diagnoses, you also build trust, healing, and hope. Thank you for letting me speak with you today, future doctors. If this podcast made you think, I hope you'll take the next step, learn more, ask questions, and help rewrite the future of lipedema care. If this episode spoke to you, or if you've ever felt unheard on your lipedema journey, please know this. You are not alone. We're in this together, and we're not stopping here. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening. I'm Susan O'Hara from LegsLikeMine.com. Be kind to yourself and keep going.